The amusement park shook violently, as if something massive was stirring beneath the surface. Deep underground, Fred and Daphne stood frozen before the rusted iron door they had just discovered. The vibrations made dust rain down from the ceiling, and the scratched warnings across the metal stood out in eerie detail. "Do not wake I. IT sees everything. Shut IT down." Fred took a deep breath. This is it. Whatever's behind this door, it's the source of everything. Daphne hesitated before nodding. "Let's go." With a deep groan, the door creaked open, revealing a massive control room bathed in pulsing red light. Thick cables stretched across the walls like mechanical veins, connecting to a large metallic pod in the center of the chamber. The air smelled of oil, rust, and something old, something unnatural. Daphne's voice was hushed. "Fred, what is this place?" Fred wiped dust from a monitor, which flickered to life. A grainy security video appeared, showing a man in an engineer's uniform, his face pale with fear. His ID badge read, Hiroshi Tanaka. "If anyone finds this, listen carefully." His voice crackled through the speakers. They turned the park into something else. It's not just a machine anymore, it's alive. And now, it's waking up. Daphne tensed. "Fred, what does he mean alive?" The screen glitched, showing live footage of the Ferris wheel above. Its lights pulsed rhythmically, almost as if it were breathing. Tanaka's voice returned, frantic. "They built something beneath the park, a system that runs everything. If it fully powers on, we won't be able to stop it. Static." Then, the ground trembled violently. The mechanical pod at the center of the room began to glow, its cables twitching. A low, synthetic voice echoed through the chamber, crackling through the long-dead speakers. "You should not have come here." The walls shook violently as a deep hum filled the room. The pod's red light intensified, beating in sync with the Ferris wheel above. Fred grabbed Daphne's hand. "We need to get out of here now." Above ground, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby skidded to a halt as the entire amusement park came to life around them. The Ferris wheel's lights flashed wildly, forming a sinister pattern in the fog. Shaggy gulped. "Like, please tell me that's just a freak power surge." Velma took a step back, staring in horror. "No, it's starting." The ground beneath the Ferris wheel cracked open with a deafening roar. From the depths of the amusement park, a massive mechanical figure began to rise, a colossus built from the very rides and attractions that once filled the park. The Ferris wheel was embedded into its back, glowing like a twisted halo. The roller coaster tracks twisted around its arms, forming metallic limbs. Its face, an unholy fusion of old animatronic parts and steel plating, flickered with red light, its massive, glowing eyes locking onto them. Scooby yelped, "Row." The machine took its first step, shaking the ground. The arcade hall collapsed, swallowed in a cloud of debris. Shaggy flailed. "Like, it's heading for the city." Velma's voice was strained. The whole park was built as one giant machine, and now it's fully activated. The robotic giant let out a deafening mechanical screech, its massive limbs whirring as it turned toward Tokyo. And then, it started marching forward. The colossal Ferris wheel-backed machine marched forward, its metal joints screeching as it tore through the amusement park. The ground trembled with each step, leaving behind deep craters where it walked. Tokyo's skyline loomed in the distance, and if the gang didn't stop it soon, the city would be in ruins. Fred led the charge. "We need to get inside that thing before it reaches downtown." Velma scanned the mechanical giant. There. She pointed to a service ladder attached to its massive steel leg, likely used for maintenance before the park shut down. Shaggy's jaw dropped. "Like, you expect us to climb a rampaging haunted robot amusement park?" Daphne grabbed his arm. "Unless you have a better plan?" Scooby whimpered. Right behind you, Raggy." As the machine took another earth-shaking step, The gang sprinted forward. Sparks rained from its joints, and the air filled with the screech of metal grinding against metal. Fred reached the ladder first. "Climb fast, and whatever you do, don't look down." One by one, they scaled the towering machine, gripping the freezing metal rungs. The wind howled around them, and below, the amusement park crumbled into dust. "Halfway up," Velma gasped. "There's an open hatch near the Ferris wheel." Daphne reached it first and pulled herself inside. This must lead to the control core. The inside of the machine was a tangled maze of cables and rusted steel. Sparks flickered in the dim red light, and the air smelled of burnt metal and old oil. Velma spotted a central console in the middle of the room. "That's it. If I can access the controls, I might be able to shut this thing down." A deep synthetic voice crackled through unseen speakers. Intruders detected. Suddenly, mechanical arms extended from the walls, swinging at them like automated security drones. Fred dodged a swipe. "Velma, hurry!" Shaggy yelped. "Like, take your time. It's not like we're about to be smashed or anything." Scooby leapt onto a console, knocking a lever forward. Alarms blared, and the machine stumbled, nearly throwing them all off balance. Velma's eyes widened. "That's it. If we overload the core, it'll shut itself down." Daphne grabbed a loose power cable. "Then let's finish this." She jammed the cable into the main console, sending sparks flying. The machine lurched, its glowing eyes flickering. The Ferris wheel's lights dimmed, and the entire structure groaned as it began collapsing in on itself. Fred shouted, "Time to go." The gang raced for the exit, barely making it out before the massive machine crumbled, sending metal debris crashing down. They jumped just in time, landing in a pile of old carnival banners as the giant robot collapsed for good. A thick cloud of dust settled, and then silence. Velma coughed. "Well, that was different." Shaggy groaned. "Like, remind me never to go to an amusement park again." Scooby whined. "Oh, no roller coasters." Fred grinned. Another mystery solved. Daphne dusted herself off. "And Tokyo still has a skyline. I'd call that a win." As sirens blared in the distance, the gang laughed in relief, knowing they had stopped something truly terrifying. But as they walked back toward the mystery machine, a final message flickered on a broken screen. System failure. For now. The gang stared at each other, the realization sinking in. This wasn't over. But for tonight, they had won.